Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Army's 54th Annual PACE Awards Ceremony. The host for today's ceremony is the Assistant Secretary of the Army for Manpower and Reserve Affairs, the Honorable Deborah S. Wada. Please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the National Anthem by Staff Sergeant Matthew Richardson and the invocation by Chaplain Kenneth R. Williams.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
What an awesome day to gather together and celebrate the service of two outstanding individuals. Whatever your tradition, I invite you to join with me in prayer and thanking God for their service and His blessing on this ceremony. Gracious and merciful God, you enable us to soar on wings like eagles, to run and not grow weary, to walk and not faint. And you call us to live lives reflective of your character of holiness, justice, and love. Holiness, being pure and selfless in our integrity, motives, and intentions. Justice, in demonstrating respect, dignity, and fairness for all equally and without bias. And love, selfless action for the good of others, to ensure they thrive and flourish, and empowered to contribute to the greater good of our organization and our nation. I thank you today for George Cannizzaro and Charles Wico, examples of your character and of the Army values. Through their service and dedication, they've demonstrated loyalty to the Army, its leaders, their peers, and subordinates, the effective and efficient use of resources. They've demonstrated duty in amazing initiative to act, respectful treatment of all others, showing kindness and mercy in the conduct of their duties, selflessness, not seeking personal gain but the good of others. Their life has demonstrated honor and integrity as they have integrated their actions with their words, and personal courage in standing against attitudes and actions that seek to sabotage a respectful and productive workplace. May all of us gathered here today follow their example of service, support, dedication, and respectful treatment of others in order to elevate the performance of all personnel on the Army team. God bless George and Charles, their families. God bless all our forces around the world, and God bless America. Amen.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Wada.
Comfortable. So, first of all, let me thank everyone for being here, and it is an honor to be here together with you again. This is the second year, and I'm actually very honored to be a part of this event because, to me, not that I'm sure you guys can hear me, but this isn't the real mic. Sorry, but to me, it represents kind of the culmination of to recognize two great people that represent what the quality of individuals that we have in our Army. And so it is a personal honor to be here today. So on that note, let me start. So good morning, and thank you all for coming today. Today we are here to honor two people who have used their considerable talents to make a contribution to the Army that is being recognized. It is my pleasure to present these awards on behalf of the Secretary of the Army. The Pace Award is named for Frank Pace, Jr., who was the Secretary of the Army from 1950 to 1953 during the Korean War. He was, by all accounts, the quintessential public servant and accomplished private citizen. He started his government career, like many did in his generation, serving in the Army during World War II. He served in the Army Air Transport Command, where he rose to the rank of major, and after the war, he continued his public service in high-profile positions in the Postmaster General Office, the Attorney General's Office, and of course, the Secretary of the Army under President Eisenhower. Frank Pace went on to excel in the private sector, serving in a series of executive positions with General Dynamics that culminated in the role as the president and chairman of General Dynamics, where he worked until 1963. In 1968, he was appointed and founded the Public Broadcasting Corporation by President Johnson, and in the spirit of his journey of his professional success as an American public servant, that the Army established the Pace Awards. This award has been presented annually since 1962 to one Army officer, Lieutenant Colonel or below, and one civilian employee, GS or GM-14 or below, who are assigned to the staff of Headquarters Department of the Army. I don't think Steve was born there. Recipient of this award contributes significant improvements to the Army, whether through great financial savings, accomplishments of major technological or military development. And today our awardees have certainly accomplished those requirements. We're here to celebrate the accomplishments of two extraordinary individuals, and it is clear whose service is clearly in the spirit of Frank Pace. These two public servants, Mr. George Canizaro and Lieutenant Colonel Charles Wickle, looked to the areas where they worked in, asked difficult questions about how we were doing business of the nation, and thought to themselves that the Army could and should do better. And it is in the spirit of transformation that many of our future capabilities will be created, through experimentation, innovation, and simply by pursuing better ways to do things. George Canizaro wrote key policy to bring more structure and accountability to the Army Gift Program, and he significantly improved the Army's ability to meet close congressional scrutiny and to take greater advantage of all donations. And I would say personally, having watched the gift program grow over the years and to what it's become, you have done an amazing job. From taking what was once a program that had very fractured and sort of, from my point of view, a disorganization, that every little command had their own sort of policies and programs in place, to what we have today, which has been tremendously helpful and beneficial to those that it serves, and those are our wounded warriors. So on behalf of the Army, thank you very much. Your contribution was significant, and it is deeply great. I'm deeply grateful for it. Lieutenant Colonel Charles Wickle, though, is no slouch. He's the program analyst for the Office of the Deputy Chief of Staff, G8. During 2015, he ensured the Army manpower strategy was properly resourced and resources were successfully defended during the program review process. Charles played a critical role in shaping the Reserve Component Manpower Program to ensure resources are in line with the Army's total force policy. I would have to say that Colonel Wickle, too, also has contributed a lot, and he has a very difficult job because, as we were talking just a few moments ago, he has to take money from other people and gives it to others. And so the people who he's taking the money from are not necessarily the most happiest people, but obviously the people who are getting the money are much more happier. But he does it with such finesse and such skill that we have been, that those who are sharing their resources with other organizations don't feel like they're being taken advantage of. So thank you very much for your contribution. It is definitely a pleasure. Both George and Charles had the vision to see that things could be done better, the skill to articulate and plan change, and the commitment to work to make the Army better. And we certainly require leaders like them in the years ahead. And I'm thankful that they chose to use their talents in the service of our Army and our nation. And they couldn't do this, of course, without the support of their families. And Ms. Canizaro's wife, Nicole, is here with him. Nicole, thank you for being here, and thank you for allowing him to serve here in the Army, because we know it takes a lot of time, and we appreciate both his and your sacrifice. And Lieutenant Colonel Wico's wife and his wife Stephanie is here with their son Stefan. Unfortunately, Alexander can't be here today because he's taking his oral exams in Spanish. And I thought they were talking about a child who was going to college, but this is a 10th grader who's doing an oral presentation. So I don't think I could get through high school at this point if I had to take oral presentations of my classes. So so please pass on our regards to Alexander, that he's very impressive. But we also want to recognize Lieutenant Colonel Wico's mother, Linda, who is also with us here today. It is the support of our families for those who serve in a uniform and our civilians. We would not be able to do it without your support, and we greatly thank you for your sacrifice and your service as well. So thank you for being here. Stephen, I know that you passed all your tests, and so I know your dad is very thankful that you were able to be here as well. So thank you to all our family members who stand by our soldiers and our Army civilians. As an Army and as a nation, we have many challenges ahead. And while we celebrate George and Charles's success today, I hope that their example will challenge all of us to work to find better ways to do the business of the Army. And I hope that our senior leaders will recognize the need for innovation and creative thinking and give our junior officers the opportunity and freedom to challenge outdated thinking, policy, and systems. All of us have the opportunity to shape the future Army, and we can do so by nurturing our future leaders, and so that we can say with confidence the Army is in good hands. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me recognize these two fine members of the Army team.
The Pace Award was named after the Honorable Frank Pace, Jr., former Secretary of the Army, and established in the early 1960s by a group of distinguished private citizens interested in providing recognition annually. The recipients serve in a staff capacity at Headquarters Department of the Army and have made a contribution of outstanding significance to the Army. There are two recipients of the 54th Annual Pace Awards. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated throughout the presentations. The first awardee is Mr. George N. Canizaro from the Office of the Administrative Assistant to the Secretary of the Army. The Department of the Army 2015 Pace Award for Exceptional Service is presented to Mr. George N. Canizaro for his significant contributions to the Department of the Army during calendar year 2015 as a Program Management Analyst, Analysis and Integration Cell, United States Army Resources and Programs Agency, Office of the Administrative Assistant to the Secretary of the Army. Mr. Canizaro's rewrite of the 30-year policies in governing regulation brought structure and accountability to the Army Gift Program while improving its responsiveness and efficiency. His achievements and results-oriented professionalism have significantly improved the Army's ability to meet close congressional scrutiny and maximize the acceptance of gifts to take greater advantage of all donations. Mr. Canizaro's outstanding accomplishments are in keeping with the highest traditions of government service and are a great credit to him, the Office of the Administrative Assistant to the Secretary of the Army, and the Department of the Army. Signed, the Honorable Eric K. Fanning, Secretary of the Army. Mr. Canizaro is now receiving an engraved pen set. Thank you, Mr. Canizaro. The next awardee is Lieutenant Colonel Charles W. Wico from the Office of the Deputy Chief of Staff, G8. The Department of the Army 2015 Pace Award for Exceptional Service is presented to Lieutenant Colonel Charles W. Wico for his significant contributions to the Department of the Army during calendar year 2015 as Readiness Program Analyst, Program Analysis and Evaluation Directorate, Office of the Deputy Chief of Staff, G8. Lieutenant Colonel Wico ensured the Army manpower strategy was properly resourced and the resources were successfully defended during program review. He played a critical role in shaping the Reserve Component Manpower Program, ensuring the resources are congruent with the Army vision for total force policy. Lieutenant Colonel Wico's outstanding accomplishments are in keeping with the highest traditions of military service and are a great credit to him, the Office of the Deputy Chief of Staff, G8, and the Department of the Army. Signed, the Honorable Eric K. Fanning, Secretary of the Army. Lieutenant Colonel Wico is now receiving an engraved pen set. Mr. Canizaro, please join Ms. Wada and Lieutenant Colonel Wico in front of the flags. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause to the 2015 PACE Award winners. Thank you, Ms. Wada, Mr. Canizaro, and Lieutenant Colonel Wico. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join in the singing of the Army song. The words can be found on the back of the program.
March along, sing our song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. Then it's hi, hi, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong, for where'er we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. You are invited to congratulate the winners in the receiving line. Thank you.